And also your ability to honor people in the community who have clearly put forth a service to help better the community. I was kidding my friends in the Jewish community last week. I said, what do Jewish people do when Hanukkah falls on Thanksgiving? I was curious what you ate. Did you have a meal of Hanukkah food with all oils and then turkey on the other table? And because I know Jewish people love to eat. And Gordon Haas always tells me that food is always a big staple of our celebrations. So Hanukkah and Thanksgiving must have been an extremely special time. And I know that Hanukkah is now over and we're moving into the Christian holiday season. And we love this time of year because we get to celebrate with our family and our friends. And nobody does that better than this community by celebrating with your family and fellowshipping with those that are important and close to you. And you do that here today by honoring those that have clearly given back their time and their resources to make this community stronger and better. So on behalf of my wife Nancy and our daughter Jacqueline, a very enjoyable holiday season, and congratulations to all of you, and thank you for what you do every day. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Congregation Adath Israel's 59th anniversary dinner. Tonight, we pay tribute to Ruth Veit, Alea Shalom, and we celebrate our honoree, Benji Veit, and our Tzorchei Tzibbur Awardees, Bruce and Miryam Jooyandeh, and Yosef and Yona Joyandeh. I'd like to acknowledge the presence of certain rabbis and dignitaries. First of all, Mayor Christian Bolwage from Elizabeth, Councilman Frank Diao from Hillside, Rabbi Eliyahu Teitz, Rabbi Avi Shulman, Rabbi Avram Herman, Rabbi Zev Wolbe, and also Steve Singfer, the president of the Jewish Educational Center. On behalf of myself, my dinner co-chairman, Nachi Veit and Alex Krauss, and the board of trustees of our shul, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for coming this evening. Aside from our membership drive, the dinner is our largest fundraising event of the year, and the proceeds from tonight's dinner will help ensure that our shul continues to be a place that its members can call home. However, even more important than the financial impact of tonight's dinner, the dinner affords us the opportunity to celebrate the shul and its members, and to demonstrate that we're truly a congregation that is united in its support for Torah, Tefillah, and each other. This has been a year of tremendous growth for our shul. Many new families have moved into the neighborhood, and over 20 new babies have been born. We continue to have multiple minyanim every day and on Shabbos. The learning opportunities available in the shul have continued to grow, and we continue to expand and reinvigorate our youth programming. It is our hope and desire that through the continued support of all of its members, Congregation Adath Israel can continue to be the source of spirituality and a second home for all of its members. I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome our new youth director, Shani Weiss, and our new assistant youth directors, Chelsea and Haley Shulman. I'd also like to take this opportunity to express gratitude to outgoing youth directors, Dina Lichtman and Dara Shulman. Thank you to them for all of their hard work and dedication. An event like this can't happen without the hard work and selfless dedication of many individuals who have volunteered their time and efforts. We're here tonight because of the efforts of the dedicated members of the dinner committee, without whom this evening cannot be possible. Therefore, on behalf of me, Alex, Nachi, and the entire board of trustees, I would like to say thank you to the following individuals who have helped put this evening together. Yudi Abraham, Alana Adams, Sarah Feit, Maddie Hoffman, Rabbi Ari Isaacs, Dr. Sarah Krauss, Brian Ness, Alex Spire, Tara Spire, Yaffa Waltzman, and Sherry Winograd. Thank you all very much. I have to apologize, I'm a little under the weather, so I apologize if I sound funny. I'd like to single out Dr. Yossi Pinsker for all of his hard work and effort that he put in putting together tonight's dinner. In his true MacGyver-esque fashion, Yossi took care of just so many different things that we either couldn't or wouldn't do. So thank you very much for everything, tonight and always. He deserves a round of applause. I'd like to thank Rabbi Schwartz for all of his help in putting together tonight's dinner, and also all that he does for us throughout the year. Whether it's giving a shiur or offering advice or just answering questions, Rabbi Schwartz is always available and eager to help. So on behalf of everyone in the shul, thank you. I'd like to thank the Y for hosting us this evening. As many of you know, Benji is the president of the Y, so thank you. The check's in the mail, Benji. I'd like to thank Avenue Florists for their help in providing us with tonight's beautiful centerpieces. Just a note on the centerpieces, you can feel free to take the flowers and the apples, I guess, but please leave the vases. I'd like to thank Scott Bradley for entertaining us on the piano tonight. Thank you. I'd like to thank Yudi Abraham for helping us out with the audio-visual equipment tonight. Thank you. And finally, I'd like to thank the Rahmani brothers of Reuben Glotzbach Caterers and Pinchas Kassir of Glotzkar Caterers for putting together such a beautiful and delicious spread, as usual. I just wanted to take this opportunity to wish everyone a belated happy Thanksgiving. I don't know about you, but I'm eagerly anticipating the Eastover that's going to happen later this year. And in anticipation of the year 2047, let me be the first to wish everyone a happy Rosh Kwanzaa. Every year after the dinner, people come over to me and give me constructive criticism about some of the things I say during my opening remarks. As a result, I've had to limit some of the things I can talk about tonight. I can't make any more self-deprecating jokes. No longer can I shamelessly plug my extremely adorable children. I'm not allowed to talk about politics. And I'm not allowed to talk about food. So, with all these limitations, I'm just not sure what can I talk about tonight. Our Tzorchei Tzibbur Awardees, the Jooyandehs, were born and raised in Iran before finally immigrating to the United States. In fact, in honor of the award that the Joyandehs are receiving tonight, the government of Iran has sent some representatives to convey the government's sentiments. Bruce and Yosef selflessly give their time and effort to make sure that every event that takes place in our shul runs smoothly. The Joyandehs are also responsible for making sure that our Sephardic minyan continues to be a success. In fact, I'm continuously amazed at the lengths that Bruce will go in order to make sure that he has a minyan. There have been a lot of troublemakers in the world this year. Bashar al-Assad continues to slaughter his own people in Syria. Edward Snowden ran off to Russia after disclosing many of our country's most important secrets. And Kim Jong-un continues to oppress his own people. The United States government has continuously been faced with the dilemma of how to deal with these scoundrels. In my opinion, I think the government should send these guys over this way and let us show him how we deal with troublemakers in this neighborhood. Today is a very somber day. Today we commemorate the 72nd anniversary of the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. With that in mind, I feel it appropriate to recognize some of the other tragedies that have happened over the past year. There was Superstorm Sandy. There it is. I did put a picture of my house with a tree on it this year. There was the Boston Marathon bombing. And then recently there was Typhoon Haiyan that devastated the Philippines. You know what? I'm not sure, but I think those are the only disasters that I can think of that happened recently. Unfortunately, we haven't made as much progress on our new building as we would have liked. However, I'm happy to announce that we have made significant progress on the new playground that you've all been hearing about, which I hear is almost complete. In fact, I think I have a picture of the new playground here tonight. It's been my pleasure to serve on the Board of Trustees of the shul for the last 7 years. Let me rephrase that. I have served on the Board of Trustees for the last 7 years. Board meetings give us an opportunity to debate issues that are pertinent to our shul in a civilized and dignified manner. In fact, in honor of tonight's dinner, I was able to get a secret first-hand picture of our board in action during the last meeting. We discussed many important matters at our meetings, including making sure the shul is a safe place for our children, ensuring that our minyanim continue to be well attended, and making sure that the funds raised for our shul are spent in a responsible manner. The board always appreciates constructive feedback from our members. If you have an issue or problem with anything that goes on here in our shul or in our community at large, well, you guys know what to do. One of the important matters that our board dealt with this past year was searching for new youth directors. During the search process, the board considered many qualified applicants. Ultimately, we decided to hire the candidate whom we felt would be the best influence on our children, especially our young ladies. All kidding aside, we're very happy with Shani, Chelsea, and Haley. Last year, one of the most popular fads on Facebook was celebrity doppelgangers. For those of you who are unfamiliar, a doppelganger is someone's double or long-lost twin. In honor of this evening, I offer my own version of doppelgangers. First, there's this handsome guy. And then, I don't know, what do you think? There's the Six Flags guy. And then there's this guy. Then we have this guy. You know what? I'm still not going to go there. Rabbi Titus, you can ask me later who would have been on the other side. There's our Gabbai, Rabbi Marvin Rosenzweig. This one's going to be a little bit of a stretch, so let me know what you think. There's the odd couple. And then there's these guys. The only question is, which one is Felix and which one is Oscar? And finally, there's Tzorchei Tzibbur awardee Bruce Joyandeh. And let me know what you think about Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas. That one's pretty good, right? Anyway, once again, I'd like to thank everybody for coming this evening. And now I'd like to call upon the Rav of our shul, Rabbi Jonathan Schwartz, to present the Tzorchei Tzibbur Award.
Ladies and gentlemen, a warm thank you to our dinner chairman, Alex Krauss, John Walsman, and Nafi Veit. An additional round of applause, of course, to our journal chairman, Dr. Yossi Pinsker. And then one round of applause, because I believe this is the best attended dinner that we've had since we've started our latest round of dinners for the shul. So take a round of applause for our shul. It's been 3 weeks since I've addressed you. I hope you still remember who I am. I had the wonderful pleasure this morning to go on a nice long walk to the other side of town. It's about 35 minutes there, and from what I'm told from the people on the other side, it's about 6 days coming back, which is the reason why no events are allowed to take place on our side of town on Shabbos, because it's too far to walk. And in the context of preparing and thinking on my way home, during the number of hours I had to do so, I found myself reflecting on Yosef and on Yehuda. Yosef, we find him sitting in a throne in this morning's Torah reading, and he turns to Yehuda and he says to Yehuda, listen,
I want to know, Hayesh lachem av o ach? Do you have a father? Do you have a brother? And Yehuda responds and he says, I told you, Yesh lanu av zakein. We have an older father, v'yeled zikunim katan. And we have a younger brother who is older. I'm sorry, Yeled zikunim katan. He's a young child who was born as a result of being late in life. And I found myself thinking that these three different stages of life really very much highlight the aspects of our honorees this evening. I just began my 10th year with our wonderful shul, and I think back to my first sukkahs in our shul. I was sitting in my sukkah, and the late great Ruth Veit, Allah Shalom, came by with her daughter Rebecca. They came to discuss a bunch of different aspects, some personal questions regarding the halachos of sukkah, and in addition, a couple of questions regarding how we were going to schedule Torah education in our shul to make it as strong as possible. And at one point I said something to Ruthie, do you want to move inside? Are you more comfortable this way or that way? I feel bad that you have to schlep all the way out to my home. And Ruthie waved me off with her hand and she said, look, the bottom line is that in this world, we have a job to do. We have Yiladim Zekunim. We have children who have the ability to become Zekanim. We have children who have the ability to develop a sense of wisdom. And our job as parents is to take every opportunity and give them that wisdom so that they can create the next generation that is strong and proud. And as I've noted on many occasions, the wonderful myriad of Torah learning opportunities that we have in our shul are the Yiladim. They're the children of the efforts of the Veit family and of Ruthie specifically, Allah Shalom, who made it her business to make sure that all of us, and in particular, the group that she called her ladies, her girls, were the ones who were always able to reach our Torah and the wisdom that the Torah provided. And Ibadu l'chaim tovim v'aruchim, when I think about Benji, and what Benji brings to his family and to our entire community at large, I can say that Benji too understands that although I'm not calling you old Benji, I would never do that, certainly not in public, but I will certainly recognize the fact that Benji approaches things with a zest and with a youthful vigor. How many years was it that you bought the announcements and wrote them for Uri until it just wasn't funny to have a 16-year-old kid standing up there anymore? But Benji does that throughout our community, whether it's in our shul, where he makes sure that our minyanim take place, specifically the Ashkama minyan, whether it's in our community at large, whether it's running this very wide. Benji does what he does, and he does it b'tuv levav, which, by the way, Rabbi Teitz, is 59 in Gematria. It's my bracha to you, Benji, that you take the lessons that you've tried to bring to the outside and enjoy it in the inside, to have only nachas from your Yiladim. And may they learn the lessons that you and Ruthie have set out for this community at large, to continue to be a source of inspiration, to take the lessons and to translate them further. And may we all continue to be inspired by all that you do. B'tuv levav. This year was a rough year. John talked about it as well. Because as I noted before, one of the relationships that was highlighted between Yosef and Yehuda was the relationship of Av Zakein, of the concept of an earlier generation that set a tone. And in our shul in particular, the message of the Av Zakein is a message that hit us very hard a couple of months ago. You ready? With the passing of our late great member, Mr. Sam Halpern. And I would be amiss if I didn't highlight his presence just for a moment. I want to mention the fact that Sam Halpern really embodied what it meant to be a full-fledged member of Adath Yisrael. He was a loving husband. He was an individual who, together with his Eishes Chayim, left a major impact on our shul. A proud father to 4 children, sons, who are all dedicated to Torah Jewry and to supporting Torah wherever possible. He was a dedicated Jew who, wherever he went, sought opportunities to perform mitzvos. Throughout his life, no matter what came, that's the way he lived. A model community member, never afraid to approach the rabbis, but with dignity and respect, to bring them the respect that they deserved and build the community the way it was meant to be done. An individual whose love of Am Yisrael, no matter where they are in the world, was something that he shared with the late great Reb Pinchas Teitz and with the world at large, and he carried it as far as possible. And most and above all, he was an inspiration for the concept of being a member of Tzorchei Tzibbur, of taking care of the needs of community, which brings me, both in photo and in moment, to my major job this evening, to talk about 2 Achim. You see, it's one thing to have Av Zakein. It's another thing to have Yeled Zekunim Katan. It's one thing to know that you have a past, and it's another thing to know that you're heading towards a wonderful future. But there's something that has to put those pieces together. There needs to be a sense of responsibility, a chovos, alavavos, an obligation and a recognition of the duties of the heart that come within that process. And that can only come when a group feels a sense of connection, almost a brotherhood. And in our shul, that sense of brotherhood comes about through 2 wonderful brothers that I share the opportunity to study personally, and have done so for the last 9 years. When on Monday evenings at 10:20 p.m., not a time that we're always looking to sit and learn Torah, I have the wonderful opportunity to sit with Yosef and Moshe Jooyandeh and to study and understand and appreciate and trade ideas about the duties of the heart. One of the things that I've learned from the opportunities that I've taken to learn with and from the Joyandehs is that they are the most selfless people I've ever met. We can finish learning at 11, and if there's a program the next day, it doesn't matter. These 2 individuals are in our kitchen to make sure that potatoes are peeled, to make sure that a cholent is prepared, to make sure that something that was supposed to be cleaned by somebody else or another major group gets cleaned up so that when the next group comes in the morning, there's no more arguments within the process. I don't believe I've ever heard either of the brothers dare say, it's not my problem, it's not my job. I think I once asked Moshe, aren't you tired? And he says to me, who can be tired? There's a need to be taken care of. This is what it means to be an individual who is osek b'tzorchei tzibur be'emunah. This is what it means to be an individual who delves himself into the community with a full heart, with a sense of care, with an understanding that it's not my heart, but the heart of the community at large. You know, Rabbi Teitz, the gematria of Levav Achav is also the gematria of Achim, both of which also total 59. It's my honor and privilege to recognize Yosef and Yona Joyandeh and Bruce and Miryam Joyandeh, and to ask them to step forward to receive our community's Tzorchei Tzibbur Award with this entire shul's gratitude and thanks for everything that they know that you do, and also for the things that, quite honestly, are just going to remain secret between the 3 of us. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. and Mrs. Yosef and Yona Joyandeh, and Mr. and Mrs. Moshe and Miryam Joyandeh. For those who belong to the Food Network, our nimble chairman has asked me to note and read the citation. V'chol mi she'oskim b'tzorchei tzibur be'emunah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu yishalem scharam, and all those who are involved faithfully in the needs of the community, may the Holy One, blessed is He, pay their reward. In appreciation of your outstanding and dedicated service to our shul and the greater Elizabeth Hillside community, we honor the Joyandeh family. Your generous commitment of time and selfless contributions have supported and inspired all of us who who are privileged to know you. Congregation Adath Israel 59th Annual Dinner, Hey Teves Tavshin Ayin Daled, December 7th, 2013.
I wasn't expecting that. It's too much for me. I want to say a small about Torah for this big parasha. Hey guys, Yosef coming, approaching to Benjamin and falling in his neck. Benjamin has a one neck. Why Torah mentioning have a neck double? And the Gemara Rabbi Elazar saying Yosef had a nevuah. It's going to happen later on, two Beit HaMikdash is going to fall down and destroy. Yosef could fall on his shoulder. Why he fell on the neck? What's the reason? The neck is the connection between the people and the Beit HaMikdash. That's the reason he fell on his neck. In our community, our mini Beit HaMikdash is our shul. With the Rabbanim we have over here, we have to try our best to make it to go to see the real Beit HaMikdash soon. Amen. I just want to thank you everyone for this honor. I'm extremely flattered and honored to accept this. Or certainly I don't feel like I'm deserving any special. I just want to thank you, some of the people they inspire me live and life and Torah and Chesed. First, thank you to Rav Veit. You have continued to build foundation for the Elizabeth and Hillside community. An incredible way. Community growing so many ways because of you. We are proud to live under your, me and my family to live under your ashkafa. Also, I want to thank you, Rabbi Schwartz. You are always helpful. Help me on any way, on my life, on mitzvah and Torah, with your shiurim, with the Torah. And also, you always available to member a community, anytime they need you. I want to thank you, the member of the board, past and present. I know you have a very hard job to do, but you try your best. I would like to thank you, the member community. With you, with your helpful, the community wasn't available. Also, I would like to thank you, Mr. Bob Amir and Jacob Obama, but anytime I need the help, they help for me. Last but not least, I would like to thank my better half, Miryam, and my family, which with their support and helpful, I wouldn't be able to do anything in shul.
We both got chizuk from within the community to the chizuk that we got to help the shul in the kitchen or whatever we do is from Mr. Farkas. Alav Shalom, you know. The inspiration that he gave us was so, you know, so good that, you know, he had a small, you know, kiddush room. I remember, you know, he would bring some cakes and stuff, and he says, you know what, guys? I just want to make a small kiddush. The reason I'm making kiddush is not because of the kiddush. I'm making the kiddush so you guys don't talk in the shul. Okay? I give you enough time, come over there, and during the davening, you always used to shush everybody. You know, so we got the first kiddush, you know, we both got from him. My other chizuk that, you know, I'm attending Baruch Hashem every day, you know, in the shul, from Rav Veit. I remember back 20 or maybe even 20 plus years ago, one Shabbos, Rav Veit just got up with regular speech, and, you know, he inspired me to come to daven with the chizuk, you know, with the car. So I used to daven at home, put the tefillin on, and go on with my work. From the next day, after that Shabbos, Baruch Hashem, I've been coming to shul every day, without stop, without any, you know, issue. So this was my second chizuk. Another chizuk that I had from Shimi Globan, I never forget. I come to daven Ma'ariv. One night, I have 5 minutes to spare. He tells me, listen, sit down, you know, you could listen 5 minutes, because another 5 minutes. It was 9:55. 10 o'clock was mine. So I sat down, listened to the shiur of the Gemara. The next night, the same thing. So I'm hanging out on the table. Yosef, sit down. He says, why don't you bring, you know, your Gemara the next night? So, you know, I got inspired, you know. From the next night, Baruch Hashem, I've gone through Shas almost twice. I'm continuing Baruch Hashem not only at night, even during the lunchtime, I go to a second shiur, I listen half an hour, you know, Gemara shiur, because of one chizuk. So, you know, so it takes a small, you know, talk to start, you know, our fire. I want to thank all your, you know, all the community, especially the board. I want to thank Rav Veit for doing a beautiful job in the community, Rabbi Schwartz, and especially my wife who helps me and, you know, let me go to take care of the, whatever, you know, needs to be done for the community. Thank you a lot.
Makes a little bit better knowing that she's remembered, that she was loved, and that people want to help because of who she was. We met at an OU Torah retreat, and we happened to be sitting together at Sudah Shlishit, and we're talking a little bit, but it was at that point I realized this was somebody special with good values, and that's something that never changed about her. I guess when we first got engaged, I got the usual questions, was it love at first sight? And my response was always no, it was love at first conversation.
There had been an ongoing women's Parsha Shir, and Rabbi Teitz had been facilitating that. But then when he no longer could do it, Ruthie stepped up and said that she would be willing to be the facilitator, to take the responsibility to teach the class.
And when she was leading this year, the aspects that I liked about Ruthie's teaching was she was able to describe everything so clearly.
I was feeling very comfortable in this class. I didn't have a yeshiva background. So she was very interesting, very simple, no pretense. She would come and she would do research on any topic, any question I would ask. She would do the research.
She made it interesting and easy for me to understand. I really enjoyed it, and it was such a positive aspect, you know, to my Shabbos afternoons, is to be able to learn from Ruthie, and I appreciated all the effort that she put in to it.
And she would mark with colored Post-its the places that she wanted to focus with us. So she would come to class with a huge pile of stuff that would, of course, take about 5 hours to get through, and she realized that.
Her little sticky notes that she stuck on every little thing, and she had all of her notes coordinated, and she really spent a lot of time. And to be able to go to such a sophisticated and interesting shiur, and to be with a group of people who were also interested, it was all because Ruthie made it possible, and that was really, and remains really special to me.
After going once or twice, I was kind of hooked. And I also looked at Ruthie and I said, you know, I've got young kids, but she's got young kids. I have a job, I work during the day, and I'm tired on Shabbat. But you know what? She's in the same boat as me. And she was really a personal inspiration to me to just say, you know, there's just she had such a strong desire for that continuous learning to keep up for herself.
And she would think of questions that she had from reading the Parsha for the week. And she would put that on the table with her sources, books and little Post-its, and it was just awesome how much effort she put into it on a weekly basis.
To work at home, to handle everything that she had to do with her family, and in between all of this is to deal with her own illness, but she was always extremely optimistic about her prognosis, and never really seemed to let her symptoms or her pain get her down.
I was always very impressed how caring she was with the children.
We raised 4 kids, and one of whom was a special needs child. She took up an enormous amount of Ruthie's time over and above just everything else she did with the women's class, with working, with having a household. Ruthie drove a Tara every day to Teaneck. It was just an example of what kind of person Ruthie was. Just such a wonderful person with just such a great heart.
She was also very protective of us when there were times about, should this class be co-ed and have men and women? She said, no, these are my women, this is a place for women.
It pained her so much. The thought of not having the shiur continue was just something that, she was just beside herself. She kept talking about my women, we need to keep the shiur going. And so a few of us got together and started rotating and giving the shiur in her place.
You know, later when she was ill and couldn't do it anymore, she had friends who took over, and they've continued it, and it's a vibrant women's shiur now. We've got some wonderful women's learning, and Ruthie really is, everybody's acknowledged, Ruthie deserves the credit for getting it going and setting the pace for it.
We wanted to continue after she was no longer with us, and it's now taken 3 women to do what she herself would do by herself. We miss her, and as a personal friend, I miss her. And it is a loss to the community and to our shiur. But she's always in our minds, and every time we go to the Shabbos Women's Parsha shiur, it was just, with her in mind.
In a few weeks will be Ruthie's 2nd yard site. In some ways, it seems like it was just very recent that we lost her. In some ways, it's been a long time. I think maybe one of the most telling things about her is the friendships that she had, that we have, how great the community has been to us. And I can never say enough. I know she's was up there looking at this and knowing what a tremendous community this has been, and that the inspiration that she was has inspired other people to do so many good things.
Someone asked me if I would speak. I was very tempted to say that if you write it in Hebrew letters, not is 59. I was tempted by the temptation. I also assumed that the reason there was no doppelganger of me there was because we couldn't find anybody who wouldn't be offended by the comparison. I want to add my congratulations and appreciation and admiration to the Joyandehs. It's an interesting thing, two brothers, and they spell their name differently, their family name differently. Ruth has one O, Jooyandeh, and Yosef, spells it with two, Jooyandeh. So I assume it's because it reflects two aspects. First of all, they are Jew, no question about it, and they bring joy. So we have it both ways with the two names of the family. I did not have the opportunity to deliver a hesped, a eulogy, when Ruth Veit passed away. I was out of the country. But I would have pointed out that there are different kinds of Kaddish that we have. We have a Chatzi Kaddish, a half Kaddish, which separates parts of davening. We have, it's called the Kaddish Yosam. We have a Kaddish Sholem with Diskada. There's a Kaddish D'Rabbanan, after learning. And then there's a Kaddish called Kaddish Agodo, the big Kaddish, which, by the way, is the only one which makes reference to death. Actually, makes reference to Trias HaMesim, L'Achoyim Messiah. It is said on two occasions. It is said at a funeral, after Tziduk Adin, after the justification of Hashem's actions, and it is said at a siyum, when we finish the volume of the Gemara of Shas. And I once said that the comparison between the two is that every person is a sefer. It's a sefer Toldos Sodom, a book from which one can learn, lessons for life. And hence the connection between the departing of the soul, which is the conclusion of that particular living book, and the conclusion of the Masechta. In Masechtas, they come in all sizes. There's Bava Basra with 175 blot, and there's Horios with 13. They're all Masechtas equally. And so too it is with the Masechta, the book that people write. One can write one which is packed, and one can write one which has little to add. And some manage to do the packing in a brief span of years, while others can live into the 80s and 90s without accomplishing a fraction of it. And that was Ruth Veit. Unfortunately, she was not granted many years, but she certainly accomplished in the few years that were given to her more than most people can do in an extended lifetime. The easier Baruch. And that's the Yizkar. Every celebration has its Yizkar, but it has its celebration as well. And I'm here not to eulogize, but to express our feelings of gratitude and admiration for what Benji Veit has done. You know, whenever I hear something said, as was mentioned on the plaque presented to the Joyandehs, Tzorchei Tzibbur b'emunah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yishalem Scharam, those who do public works faithfully Hashem should pay their reward. I'm reminded of a comment that a teacher made. In Berea, the custom was at the end of the year luncheon, 2 teachers being picked out, and a "this is your life" kind of a thing was presented. It was usually a surprise, or they tried to. And I remember when my wife warned me that if I ever pick her and asked me to present the pictures of her early life, childhood and early life, I should let her know, and I promised her I would. So I told Mrs. Newman of Shalom, when the time comes, don't ask me, ask my son. Anyway, it was a surprise, and she got up to give a response. And she finished up explaining why she went into teaching, and said, may your reward be entire from Hashem, because you'll never get it from the administration. Fortunately, here, when we give a reward, when people do things with Tzorchei Tzibbur, they get their recognition and their maskarat, if you can call it that, at an event such as this. So don't rely completely on Hashem. We rely on Hashem fully, but we do our share as well. I don't remember who it was who said it. All my life I grew up among the wise men, the Talmidei Chachamim. I found nothing more beneficial to the person than silence. Now, this doesn't mean not to speak up when one has to. But what it means is that one goes about one's obligations not for the sake of publicity, not for the sake of honors, but because it is to be done, and it is to be done in the proper manner. And this, I think, in few words, which is appropriate, sums up Veit. Who cares deeply that things should be done properly, but does not look for the publicity and the fanfare that goes with it, but just does the job and does it in the proper manner. We're told that a great athlete, his greatness shows itself in getting his team to be better, to make the players around him better. In that sense, Benji is a great leader. He makes the ones who are around him better, more capable, and more desirous of fulfilling what has to be done. And we are indeed fortunate that we have him in the shul, that we have him in the community, as witnesses, as we mentioned, his presidency of the building here. And he does it despite the slings that life has thrown his way, and does it with unfailing good humor and with unfailing dedication to the task that has to be done. It is my pleasure to present our guest of honor, Veit. Reads, quote, whoever honors the Torah is himself honored by mankind. It's a quote from Pirkei Avos, and it reads, in memory of our beloved friend, mentor, and congregant, Ruth Veit, her love for her family and dedication to the dissemination of Torah were unsurpassed. Her legacy will be remembered and felt by many generations to come. And in honor, we quote L'chaim Tovim, of our dear friend and neighbor Benjamin Veit. Benjamin? I don't think I've heard you call me Yomin, every time you get nothing. And I don't recall you ever being called Benjamin. However, I guess can't be formal here. And in honor of our dear friend and neighbor Benjamin Veit, your exemplary leadership, selfless acts of kindness, and continuous service to our shul and greater community have enhanced all of our lives. The Congregation of Adath Israel 59th anniversary dinner, Teves Toshinayim Daled, December 7th, 2013.
Thank you, Rav Teitz, for your kind words. Thank you, Rabbi Schwartz. And to all of my friends, Ruthie's friends, who spoke on the video, and all the other kind words that we've been hearing tonight. I'm up here tonight for one single reason. I married well. I'm here because my wife, Ruth, was an incredible person. One of the many profound quotes of Winston Churchill was that the greatest lesson he learned in life was that even fools get it right sometimes. Well, this fool got it right when he married Ruthie. I'm also up here because I no longer have the benefit of Ruthie's counsel and good sense. And if I had ever approached her about us being the guests of honor, she would have had a one-sentence reaction. Are you crazy? A lot of nice, beautiful things were said on the videos and a lot of other, and in the speeches. And I'm a little bit of a loss for words as to what more to say. And when you get in a situation like that, the best thing to do is delegate. And I'm going to delegate to one of my children. Atara, please come up here. Thanks. And I think Atara is just a fine example of the great things that Ruthie did. What a wonderful woman she was. Atara, go ahead.
On behalf of my siblings, thank you for making this year's dinner a tribute to my mother and making my father the guest of honor. My father thought I might be the best choice from the family to speak to you tonight. My father may be the guest of honor. We may have family members older than me, and we may have family members more eloquent and knowledgeable than me. But I'm perhaps the best example of what kind of person my mother was and what she accomplished in too short a life. Most of the people at this dinner are parents of sizable families, and most of you work at demanding jobs. Many make important contributions to our community and Klal Yisrael through volunteer work. Some of you have had health issues. A handful have had children with special needs or other serious issues. My mother fit into all of those categories. When I was diagnosed as being autistic, she immediately went to work on doing everything she could to help me be the best I could be. Thanks to her, I'm able to stand here and speak to you. Thanks to her efforts, I got a Jewish education. She did this while she worked, raised other children,
In Pirkei Avos, Shimon HaTzadik, in the first parak, second Mishnah, Shimon HaTzadik says, the world stands on three pillars: Torah, Avoda, and Gevurot Chasadim. My co-honorees tonight, the Joyandehs, epitomize those values. Usually, when someone is being honored at a dinner or another event, it's usually somebody who's done great things in one or two of those three pillars. But the Joyandeh family really excelled in all three of them. I'm humbled to share this spotlight with you tonight. I'm going to switch hats for a minute, as people have noted I'm president of the board of the Y, so I'm in a sense also the host of this venue tonight. If anybody wonders why I go to the Hashanah meeting and then disappear very quickly afterwards, it's because I'm president of the Y. I don't want to hear complaints and suggestions at shul. So that's why I disappear. You all thought I liked to get up early. I'm very pleased that once again the shul dinner, the Adath dinner, is at the Y. Personally, it's great for me because I have a designated parking spot out there. Adath Israel and the Y, of course, are very intertwined organizations, and I think the most telling thing about that connection between the two is there are as many members of the shul who are on the board of the Y as there are members of the shul on the board of the shul. So I expect the dinner to continue to be here. Anyway, I'd just like to thank everybody for making this dinner in Ruthie's memory, and thank you for letting us share the evening with the Joyandeh family. To the organizers of the dinner and the board of Adath Israel, thank you for all your hard work. I know it's a lot of effort and work to put this together. I apologize if I wasn't more involved in it, but when I was hemming and hawing about it, John did specify that all I had to do was to show up. And I always listen to what I'm told to do, so all I did was show up. I'd like to thank all of you for being here tonight, and to family and friends for being here and for being so supportive. And of course, thank you to our rabbinical leadership, to Rabbi Schwartz, and to our Moral Diastro and our Tights. And the only other thing to say is it's really a privilege and an honor to be a part of this fine community. Thank you.
That concludes the formal program for the evening. I just wanted to once again wish a mazel tov to all of the honorees and to thank everyone for coming tonight.